Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your first look at Week 8. All right, we got Week 8 plays. It is up. Draftkings uploaded it, and now we're going to take a look at position by position, our favorite quick looks. Okay, giving you 4 to 5 guys in each and every position that we should focus on, and then we'll narrow it down later in the week. All right, let's start off with the QB position, and that's going to be paying up for Josh Allen. We saw Miami Dolphins defense, even with their 2 corners back, they looked atrocious. Atlanta Falcons were able to put up 30-plus points on their defense. Josh Allen obviously is better than Matt Ryan, provides more upside than Matt Ryan. Not only can he throw, he can run as well. As you see the game log here against Tennessee, against KC, Houston, it doesn't matter the matchup. He's putting up fantasy points, and now you get him in division matchup, obviously, but a home game as well, coming off of a bye. And I like the Buffalo Bills getting back to business, him connecting with Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley since the injury to Dawson Knox. But we love Josh Allen at that QB position. Let's go to our second QB I'm going to be looking at, and that will be Jalen Hurts. All right. The offense is pretty much predicated all on Jalen Hurts. Obviously, there's a potential injury to that running back position that can step up someone else. We're going to speak about him a little bit later. But Jalen Hurts with a prime matchup against the Detroit Lions, 21st against defense and 21st against passing. He's doing a lot of his damage in that second half, preferably the fourth quarter, because this team tends to be down. But I see them being up. I see them scoring with Jalen Hurts with a little bit easier for him. He's been struggling in these other games against the Raiders and Tampa Bay. Now he gets a little bit of a cushion going up against the Lions, who struggle on defense. Dual threat right here. I see a rushing touchdown. I see a couple passing TDs. The upside, the sky is the limit for Jalen Hurts in this prime matchup against the Detroit Lions. So we like him at 7,200. All right, dual threat right there. Next guy we're going to look at will be a little bit cheaper for you guys. Jameis Winston in a revenge game going up against his old team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He wants to eat a W right here. And now we have a situation where obviously Tom Brady in division matchup, but I'd rather go with the cheaper side if I want to pay up for all these talented wide receivers on both sides of the ball and running backs. So I want to go with Winston, who should be motivated in this game. He should be tossing that ball all around against an injured secondary in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this game is going to be high scoring. And this is the easier way to access, just cheaper way to access to the game stack. Obviously, I'm going to have some stacks of Brady, but Winston saves you some salary, and there is still upside here. He can definitely throw for 4 or 5 touchdowns. He has that type of upside. As you can see against Green Bay, 5 touchdowns in that game, put in 37 rushing yards. This is another high potential below spot for him. So I love Jameis Winston going up against Tampa Bay at home. And then the fourth guy we're going to look at will be Carson Wentz. Him and Frank Reich are clicking. In a bad weather game, he still was able to put up 21 fantasy points, 2 touchdowns, even got a rushing TD, 2 fumbles, obviously because of the rain, so he could have had even more fantasy points. But this should be an even better matchup against Tennessee, who struggles against the pass. Obviously, they had the antidote to Kansas City, but this game is going to be a little bit different. Indianapolis can definitely throw on Tennessee. And this is a spot where if T.Y. Hilton is healthy, I'm going to be all in on him. He absolutely destroys the Tennessee Titans each and every year, okay? Each and every year. It's like guaranteed. You should look back in history books. But Carson Wentz is being very consistent with throwing touchdowns. He's getting a little more confidence in his game, looking like the old Carson Wentz, being back with his offensive coordinator at 5,700. I love this price right here if I want to save some salary and still have some high upside. Look at that. 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 102 QB rating. Outstanding what Wentz has done with the Colts now, okay? Outstanding. And this is a big in-division game, all right? Must win. Now, let's move over to the running back position. Key in on some guys right here. The first one we're going to key on will be DeAndre Swift. All right, DeAndre Swift is a very dynamic back, can run it and can catch it. As you can see, look at the PPR upside we have here. This is an absolute steal. Man, 13 carries, 48 yards against the Rams, and also came through with 8 receptions, 10 targets, 96 yards, and a TD. The targets are there each and every week. 7 targets against the Bengals, 6 targets against Minnesota, and 6 targets against Chicago. All right, 7 against Baltimore, and the story goes on and on and on. This game, I don't see it as a blowout. I think Lions can keep it close, a nice competitive game, but DeAndre Swift still provides production in any game situation. 28 fantasy points against Rams. No one's seen that coming. 22 against Minnesota. 23 against Baltimore. The upside is there in a very great matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles run D. That's 29th ranked. So we're going to have a whole bunch of DeAndre Swift. The next guy we're going to talk about right below him will be Joe Mixon. Okay, the New York Jets are a bad run D. Well, they're bad defense, period. Okay? Very young. We had some bright moments, but just being honest, it's not a good situation. It's not a good situation right now. We need time. We need more talent. The fact that C.J. Mosley was out, a leader on the defense, that was another big blow. But what Cincinnati's going to put forth is going to stretch us out. Trying to cover T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon can run up that middle, similar to what Damian Harris did. And they're going to be able to tackle us on both sides of the ball, passing and rushing. As you see, 24th against the pass and 25th against the rush. I'm going to go with Joe Mixon in a big blow-up game. He hasn't had a 100-yard game in I don't know how long. Not has one in week 1. I think he gets his second one in this week against the Jets. So definitely taking advantage of him at 6,900. 20-plus fantasy points here. He might be a lock. Joe Mixon might be a lock. He's getting a ton of touches. And Joe Burrow's going to have a nice, easy day on Sunday. Let's just say that. Joe Flacco's going to be the quarterback. It's going to be an ugly scene in New Jersey, okay? Next, running back, we're going to look at, we're going to go to Derrick Henry. All right, I'll pay up a little higher for you guys. Then I'll go down with the fourth guy. I'll be a cheap guy, okay? Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans. The formula worked against Kansas City Chiefs. They ran the ball effective enough to open up the lanes for A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, and those guys. This one can be a factor where they're going to run the ball with him again. The question is, will he get in that end zone when they get to that red zone? Obviously, he has the upside. It doesn't matter what defense it is. Obviously, Indianapolis has a solid run D, but Elijah Mitchell was able to run on his team. Derrick Henry can do that as well. At least get you a touchdown and probably 100 yards. We want 30 fantasy points if we're paying up for this. He has that upside. And he has a pretty good, solid history against these Colts. So I'm going to go back with that narrative, and I think Derrick Henry bounces back after a subpar game against the Kansas City Chiefs with only 16 fantasy points. I think he bounces back in this game, all right, at 8,900. And then last but not least, we're waiting on news. We are waiting on news on this one, but Kenneth Gainwell, if Miles Sanders is out, he will become the number 1 running back, obviously with Boston Scott behind him, but Kenneth Gainwell has already had some big blow-up games. He, even in that Raiders game, 5 for 20, had 4 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown. A blow-up game against Kansas City, had 3 for 31, 6 catches, 8 targets, 58 yards. That was one blow-up game, and he also had a solid game in week 1, 9 for 37 with a rushing TD. Like I said, he had another touchdown in that game, but it got called back. But Kenneth Gainwell is LaShawn McCoy Jr., and at his price at 5K, I'm going to definitely have a lot of him if Miles Sanders is going to be out. All right. Let's move on to the wide receivers. All right, wide receivers, we're going to pair them with the quarterbacks we like. So for Josh Allen, that means Stephon Diggs. Let me see if I can pull this up, get you all the Buffalo wide receivers that we like here. So we're going to go all the Buffalo wide receivers right here. So that's going to be Diggs, that's going to be Emmanuel Sanders, and that's going to be Cole Beasley. 8,100, 5,400, and 49. Diggs is going to be the favorite. Obviously, he's going to get a lot of looks from Xavier Howard, but I don't know what's going on with that defense. They have looked atrocious. We finally got a big blow up. Not a big blow up. We got a solid game from Diggs. Yet, still not 100 yards and a touchdown game since, was it maybe week 1? No, he hasn't done that all year long. So we're still waiting for a huge blow game. The time can be against Miami, who's looked absolutely horrible. I don't know what happened to them. A lot of people thought they were a playoff team, but things are turning differently. We'll see if they be able to get Deshaun Watson. Emmanuel Sanders has been a very nice pickup for the Buffalo Bills. Consistency right here out of him, as the number 2 wide receiver. 5 receptions, 8 targets, 91 yards, 2 TDs against KC, another 2 TD game against Washington. So the upside is there. If a lot of the ownership is going to be on Stephon Diggs, then we can pivot over to Emmanuel Sanders. All right, I'll throw Diggs in there just for you guys to build it, and then also the second leg of the running game will be dump offs to Cole Beasley. It was Dawson Knox. He's injured. So now Cole Beasley will step in, and as you can see, the target stepped up. 7 receptions, 9 targets, 88 yards, and a touchdown. We can get back to what Cole Beasley was last year with the absence of Dawson Knox. He can be a sneakier, flex play at 4,900, so we like him there. Next will be Jalen Hurts and his wide receiver crew, and for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me pull that up for you guys right here against Detroit in a great matchup. DeVonta Smith right here. He came through with 5 receptions, 9 targets, 61 yards. They were down a majority of this game. And Jalen Hurts, I don't know what it is. He can't get it together unless it's a 2-minute drill. Then he's moving around. He actually looks like he's, trying to make a play, throws decent balls. Throughout the first 3 quarters, he looks horrible. So it doesn't make sense. They need to fix this offense, get things going and flowing against the Detroit Lions, and that's the perfect opportunity for them to get things going. DeVonta Smith is at a very cheap price at 5,500. He is the number 1 wide receiver in this offense, and pretty much shows a lot of mismatches. Doesn't matter what corner they have on the Lions side. DeVonta Smith at 5,500 is going to be one of my not my locks, but highly owned. Okay, in my builds. And then the number 2 wide receiver is basically a coin flip between Rager and Quez Watkins here. Jalen Rager was very lucky to get this touchdown in garbage time. He wasn't really getting targeted. He only had 2 targets in the whole game. I would lean more to Quez Watkins. He's getting more of the snaps, getting more of the targets. 4 targets last week, only caught 2 balls, 37 yards, and he has that explosiveness. Can definitely take the top off of defense on any play. He has home run hitting ability, and I like him at 4K over Jalen Rager. All right, next wide receiver crew we're going to look at will be Jameis Winston. Going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's going to be Marquez Callaway right here. Had a solid performance right before the bye against Washington, had 2 touchdowns off of huge passes from Jameis Winston, so that upside and ability is there. I like him at 5,400. They get a little bit of help from Traquan Smith. We don't know if Deontay Harris is going to make it back for this game, but Traquan Smith getting acclimated back to the offense, coming back from the IR. I like him. His hamstring should be 100% now. Big body wide receiver. he has the opportunity to do well against Tampa Bay as well. Other than that, Kenny Stills can be an option, but I'll just lean towards Callaway, Traquan Smith, and obviously Alvin Kamara if I'm going to build that type of stack and bring it back with some Tampa Bay guys. And then last but not least, for the wide receivers, will be WENTZ and his crew. We're going to look for Indianapolis right here and pull up their wide receivers. Michael Pittman had a nice breakout game against the San Francisco 49ers. With the injury to Hilton, he was able to step up 4 receptions, 105 yards, and a TD. T.Y. Hilton should be back. He has a Q tag right now currently. He's optimistic that he will be ready for Sunday. So we'll see. If he is in, I'm going to go back to him because when he did play that one game against Houston, 4 catches, 80 yards, a 20-yard average on a 52 long as well. The upside is there. Once he gets back in there, Wentz is going to be able to throw that deep ball to one of still explosive target in T.Y. Hilton. All right, he just can't stay healthy. If Hilton is out, obviously Pittman becomes a definite play, and then Zach Pascal becomes the number 2 wide receiver. Got 6 targets last week, 3 receptions, 14 yards. A lot of up and down play, but when he gets to the red zone, he's probably looking at Mo Alley Cox, or they're running the ball with Jonathan Taylor, or Zach Pascal can be a guy that he throws touchdowns to. He had 3 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks, so that's some upside right there. Now let's look at the tight end position, and I'll give you some solid plays from there as well. All right. First play will be Mike Gesicki right here. Since Tua Tagovailoa has come back, he has peppered targets to Mike Gesicki. In the game against Jacksonville, 8 receptions, 9 targets, 115 yards. And then the next game against Atlanta, 7 receptions, 8 targets for 85 yards, 1 TD. They're using him in the slot, which is very key with injuries to DeVonta Parker. So Mike Gesicki is that number 2 option. It's been Waddle, Gesicki a lot of times, okay? A lot of times it's been just those 2 guys. So I like Gesicki at this price at $5,000. He has major upside as well if they're going to continue to feed him the way that they are. Kyle Pitts at $6,300 is coming on. All right, they're using him as a wide receiver in a multiple facets. Calvin Ridley has not stepped up as the alpha. Hopefully he gets to break out one of these weeks. But since that Jets game in London, 9 receptions, 10 targets, 119 yards, and a TD. Then against Miami, 7 receptions, 163 yards, no TD. But look at this production. 29 fantasy points, 26 fantasy points. Let's continue the roll. The matchup doesn't matter. There's no one. He's basically the size, like I said, size of a tight end, but the speed of a wide receiver. You can't cover him. He's a big mismatch. They're finally getting things clicking over there between Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts. I want to take full advantage of that. Kyle Pitts has huge potential. With the struggles of all these tight ends this year, he still has the opportunity to become the number 1 tight end at the end of the season. All right, if he continues to keep this pace that he's going on. So Kyle Pitts is going to be our number 2. And then our number 3 tight end will be Pat Freiermuth, okay? With the injury to Juju Smith-Schuster, Freiermuth has stepped up. And like I said, they run that 12-man set. And also Pat Freiermuth is being used in that slot. So similar to Mike Gesicki, Pat Freiermuth is being used as a wide receiver / tight end. He is very good at route running, very good at catching the ball. He had 7 targets on 7 receptions against Seattle with 58 yards. So that was a solid performance from him as well. All right, and at that cheap price, we like that. Okay. So that is going to be our first look. Defenses I'm going to wait on. That'll be for the next video. But I think we have some solid options right here. As you can see, we got Josh Allen, we got DeAndre Swift, we got Joe Mixon, we got Mike Gesicki. All right, we can potentially have a great build going for this week 8. If you have any other suggestions, let me know in that comment section down below. All right, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment and subscribe. Sign up for the Patreon to get more exclusive content, one-on-ones, and advice as well. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, MetsNetsJetsD. I'll be back with another video very soon. Peace out.